Hey team, happy Sunday. This is Coach Megan. This Sunday's video is going to be about sports nutrition, specifically with nutrient timing. I know that a lot of us are on a new schedule or getting back to our old schedule or figuring out some new things. We're going to be adding some new times for F45 classes, and that might mean how we're eating and what we're eating and when we're eating should look a little bit different than what we're currently doing. Others of us might feel that we're really sluggish during class or might not know how to fuel our bodies after. So hopefully with this short video today, there's at least one thing that you can take away and implement. And I'm going to talk about our goals that we're going to have from that in just a second. So I thought we'll do a little visual aid so that we're all on the same page. So there's a doctor named Jose Antonio, and he's the CEO and the founder of something called the International Society of Sports Nutrition. And this quote was from at least 5 years ago, but I use it all the time. And this was from a talk that he was giving, talking about nutrient timing. So whenever we're eating our food, he was explaining that it impacts almost everything in terms of performance. So how we perform, basically how heavy we're able to go, how many reps we're able to push through during an F45 class, how quickly we recover from, one class to the next. Some of us are doing, the 7 p.m. and then the 6 a.m. the next day. So we really need to be able to recover in a short window of time, especially if we're doing workouts back to back, day to day. Also, how much muscle we put on and how much body fat we lose. So kind of the epitome of most everything that we're working for with our F45 workouts. Nutrient timing, so when we're eating our food, impacts all of these things. So we always like to start with what to eat before activity. So pre-activity, usually we're talking about 2 hours before, and I'll show you some specifics in just a second. But our nutrient focus and purpose here is going to be carbohydrate based. So I know, again, still everyone's like, oh, low carbs, cut out carbs, this and that. But remember, carbs break down to sugars, and sugars fuel our body. They help give us energy and literally give us fuel to be able to sustain daily life, and especially our F45 workouts. So we need to have some type of carbs in our body before we're working out. And also, whatever we're eating, we want to make sure that we have some protein and some fat in there to alleviate hunger. So this whole part that I'm talking about first really is for workouts that are in the afternoon. So some people could eat, for a morning workout, a 6 a.m., an 8 a.m., even a 10 a.m. class. Based on what you ate the day before, you may not need to be fueling your body before the workout. I've kind of gone through different cycles in my life when I needed to eat food before, and I've gone through times when I couldn't eat before. It would kind of mess up my stomach. So you kind of need to play with different foods and listen to your body. But if you ate, a lot of healthful foods the day before and you're working out first thing in the morning, you may be fine without, having this pre-activity fuel. But if we're taking a night class or an afternoon class, and we're eating lunch at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., and we're taking, a 6 p.m. class or a 7 p.m. class, that's a really long window when we're not eating anything, or maybe we're just snacking in between. So this would refer to kind of those snacks that we're fueling our body with before. Just to circle back really quick with the protein and the fat. I know sometimes after school or, in that afternoon, I'll grab, a piece of fruit, an apple, a banana, something like that, and have that as my snack. And even though that's really sufficient for the carbs that I'm having, I'm still finding that I'm hungry later. And then maybe I'll have a granola bar and I'll also have nuts and then something else. So if we can have those nutrients together, the carbs with the protein and the fat, we might be satisfied enough to just have that sustain itself on its own. But if we're just eating carbs or just having protein, we're probably going to find ourselves that we're really hungry still, or that we're not having enough carbs if you were just having like a protein bar and fuel. So try to have all three of those together so that that's kind of a one-time snack about 2 hours before, so that you're ready to go to class. So a whole bunch of examples of things to eat. I'm going to move our picture up for before a workout. So I have on the left-hand column some pre-activity things having 2 hours before. So these would be bigger, kind of small meal-like things. A nut butter and jelly sandwich, half a whole roasted turkey or roast beef or tuna sandwich there. So something that's like a little bit more chunky. And then a half hour or an hour before, this could be in conjunction with that 2 hour snack that you had before, or it could just be on your own. You're driving the F45. These are things, to maybe have in the car to have right before, could be those things. And you'll notice that what I have in the right-hand column, the just before, between a half hour before and an hour prior, that these things that I listed typically do not have a lot of protein and fat in them. At this point, I'm really not worried about, alleviating hunger, because we're going to be getting into that workout right away. So we're just more focused on carbs. So again, you could have that thing 2 hours before and an hour before, or just that hour before, or just the 2 hours before. This is all kind of give and take. And these are examples that you're going to have to kind of figure out with your own body, what's going to feel good in your stomach, what's going to fuel you. And notice also that for most of them, I did not put, full amounts of anything in here. So we have to listen to our bodies. We all have different body shapes, sizes. We all push it to different levels during class. So we need to listen to our bodies. During activity, during strenuous activity, some things to help, keep your body going could be a natural sports drink. So typically things like Gatorade, Powerade, they just have too much added sugar that unless we're doing really, extreme endurance activities, taking 5 F45 classes in a day, we typically don't need. If you have worked all day though, and your electrolytes may be lower, maybe having a natural kind of sports drink. So I linked some electrolyte tabs right here, a picture of those. I use these a lot during the school day if I'm out all day on the turf field or something like easy to digest fruits, watermelon slices, orange slices. Apples are great as well, but they do have a higher fiber content, which means that they're slower to digest. So typically those aren't the best kind of things if we're needing quick fuel while we're working out. For most F45 workouts, since they're only 45 minutes, you're probably not needing to fuel as you're going on. But again, there could be different times that maybe you do, or you had a really tough day on the job as well. So these could be some good suggestions to have while you're working out. And then last but not least, after activity. So what we're talking about here for our nutrient timing is going to be within about an hour after we work out. So I'm sure many of you have heard of that kind of magic window of when we, want to refuel our body so that we are not losing any of those, benefits and gains that we just worked for. So here you'll notice we're still looking for proteins and carbs and probably some dietary fat as well, but the ratio has changed. So before our workouts, we want to emphasize carbs. After our workouts, we still want to, consume carbs, but protein is going to be more of our emphasis. This is going to help for muscle recovery. So whether it's a cardio or a strength day, muscle recovery, it's also going to help with muscle synthesis that usually happens, while we're sleeping and everything. We're going to digest those proteins. And we're going to be able to use them for muscle growth, and then restoration of energy as well. So this is really important. Protein shakes are a great post-workout thing to consume, but there's not a lot of carbs in some of them, depending on the type of protein that you're using. If we're not refueling our carbohydrate levels, carbohydrates are broken down into glucose in our body, and glycogen is what we refer to as like stored carbohydrates or stored sugars in our body. So all of those energy, tanks in our body are typically depleted when we're working out. So that is also needed for, rebuilding our muscle size, rebuilding our strength, recovering, feeling really good after. If we don't have, enough carbohydrates, our body needs to find that sugar and those glucose and those glycogen stored somewhere. So your body's either going to break down your body fat, which may sound really appealing, but it could also break down your muscle fibers and your muscle tissues and kind of negate everything that you were just working so hard for. So you don't have to go crazy with things, but having a mix of proteins and carbs is really beneficial. All right. And last but not least, some examples of nutrient timing sort of things for after we're working out. So you might have heard before, chocolate milk is key. This would obviously not be your best like dinner option for something, just a glass of chocolate milk, but this is maybe after a morning workout, after an afternoon workout or an evening workout, if you're still going to hang out and have dinner, a few hours later or an hour later. The things on the top of the list are things that you could have kind of in the interim. And then again, looking at like a healthy dinner option, something that is going to emphasize proteins, have some carbohydrates in there. So if we're just having grilled chicken with a salad for dinner, great source of protein there with like the grilled chicken, salad, some carbohydrates in there, but probably not enough to really refuel our body. And we may find later in the night that we're craving something like ice cream or a cookie or something that has carbohydrates in it. That's our body talking to us and telling us that. So, chicken and salad is great, but maybe we're adding some chickpeas on that salad too, another source of protein, but there's also going to be some more carbohydrates in there. And then don't forget about the dietary fat for, satiety as well. Maybe having some olive oil on that salad could be a nice balanced meal to help get our body ready to refuel, recharge while we're sleeping, and then get ready for that next F45 workout. So food is fuel. Think wisely, choose wisely, make sure that your body is feeling good. Listen to your body. It is so smart. And remember that all of this is individual to you and it's trial and error, but it can really affect your performance. So try and take one thing away from this video, implement it, and check back in with me. Let me know how you feel. Have a great day, guys.